I recently installed the EcoFlow DELTA Pro Ultra at my parents' house, and it's not very often when the company themselves come out to answer any questions I might have. This is Tim from EcoFlow.
Hey everybody.
And he's here to answer the questions we all have about this setup.
I'm excited. So let's get started. So Zach, you've been using EcoFlow products quite some time. How long actually?
So it's been about 3 years. I got my first EcoFlow DELTA Pros, and I've been powering my barn with one main unit and 2 expansion batteries.
Right, I remember that.
It's amazing that even after 3 years, it's still working, still keeping my chickens alive, and it keeps my horses' water from freezing in the freezing months like January.
Perfect, perfect. So 3 years later, we're here with yet another bigger, more powerful unit from EcoFlow. And I see you have already hooked it up to your house. What was the experience like?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I was super excited when you guys came and said, hey, we have this new product we want you to test out. Because one of the issues I've had with the previous DELTA Pros is that during the winter months, the batteries don't want to charge below freezing. But this EcoFlow Ultra has an internal battery heater that allows it to work down to -4 degrees, all the way up to 113 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
And as far as the installation procedure, so right now we have one cord leaving the inverter going into this box in the wall, going to a smart home panel 2. And it took us about 1 day to do the electrical side of things, 1 day to put the solar panels on the roof. There's about 6 kilowatts worth of solar up there, making sure that this stays charged up. And then took me five minutes to stack the battery and the inverter together on top of the cart. So about 2 days and 5 minutes.
Including rooftop solar installation,
Yes,
which is a big part as well. Here we are looking at the smart home panel, but it's actually only a part of it.
Yeah.
So where's the other part?
So since we're putting the system into a house that's already been built, we had to kind of put the wires into the walls after the fact. And so we split the panel, because it's designed this way. We split the panel and put the panel down in the basement so that we can leave the batteries out here in the garage, which makes them more mobile for us.
Right. And your main panel, as I understand, is also in the basement.
Uh-huh.
So you can place them together.
Yeah.
Would you like showing us a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I'll show you everything that this is powering, and then I'll also show you the smart home panel downstairs.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Sounds great. Let's
go.
go.
Let's go. All right, so this is the addition that my parents put on their house. And so everything you're seeing in here, like the fridges, the oven, the island, this little office space back here, and the air conditioning unit outside is being powered off of the EcoFlow Ultra. And then if we go downstairs down here, I can show you where the panel is. This is my parents' house, the house that I grew up in from 7th grade all the way through high school.
That's a lovely house.
One of the reasons that I like this panel so much is because we were able to separate it and leave the batteries in the garage while bringing all the intelligence down here to the basement, because this has the ability to get power from the grid, also from a generator, which we don't have hooked up at my place, and then the battery inputs are coming in here from the bottom.
Right.
And each one of these breakers I can individually control from my phone.
And I see you also have breakers that are 240 volts. Like air conditioner, I see you have 2 breakers connected here, so it would be 120 plus 120 and other things. So DELTA Pro Ultra is handling those no problem, as I understand.
Up to, I think, 10 kilowatts of power out of one battery, which is phenomenal. The reason we put the panel down here in the basement is because this is where the original contractor put the dumb panel in the basement. And so these exact same breakers, literally, we just took them out of the dumb panel and put them into the smart panel, which then can control everything.
Right.
One thing I noticed though is that this is called the EcoFlow Smart Home Panel 2. Does that mean you guys had a Smart Home Panel 1 at some point?
We actually did, and it was a whole different story because we had an international standard breakers. Those are very different from these ones, and it was not very intuitive for American market and the installers here. So we designed this product specifically for North America. So every regular electrician can come over, take a look at this, and feel very familiar with what's going on, because it's literally no different from a regular panel except having a lot of smart features. Plus the sizing is also very considered, because every regular home, the distance between 2 studs is pretty standard. So EcoFlow smart home panel fits perfectly between two studs.
When we installed the smart home panel 2, we didn't have to adjust anything with the wall. It slipped right between two studs that are 16 on center. This smart home panel is 6 inches deep, so it's supposed to go into an exterior wall. Since we're interior, it sticks out just a tiny bit, but I think it looks phenomenal still. Super impressed with how easy it was to install, and even like, this was our first time installing this specific system, and it worked the first time we turned it on, clipped the panel into place, and everything's just functioning. There was no troubleshooting, no anything. And like, as someone who reviews technology and like beta technology and early prototypes, having something just work the first time is like so nice. So
I'm so glad to hear that, Zach.
One of the questions I have for you, Tim, is that on my system, there's 2 solar inputs, a low voltage and a high voltage. How come you guys decided to go that route?
Well, actually, you know, since it's Delta Pro Ultra, we used very similar MPPT for low voltage one, and a lot of our users told us that it might not be enough for their needs or for extended power outages, or even for somebody who lives off-grid, 1600 watts sometimes feels a little bit limited. So we thought, why don't we give them extra 4000 watts? We also increased the voltage. So open circuit voltage on a 4000 watt MPPT is 450 volts, and that allows you to have bigger arrays and to use bigger residential size solar panels. So that just widens up the possibility and opportunity of choice for our users.
So on this house, I maxed out both inputs with permanent arrays. So we have about 5.6 kilowatts worth of solar. But technically, I guess someone could max out just the high voltage array with something on their roof and then leave the low voltage input for like foldable solar panels if they didn't have enough like real estate on the roof.
And if you're going for roof solar panels, it would make sense to go straight to the high PV input. It's pretty standard. These panels come with MC4 connectors, and our high PV input is also MC4 connector. So we don't have to jerry-rig anything by ourselves.
And we plug directly into the system, so it was super easy.
Sir. And then we also considered like Delta Pro Ultra is still a very strong portable power station. So if you want to go, if for some reason you got to take it with you, you can enjoy your portable and foldable solar panels with the low voltage input MPPT. And in that case, 1600 watts should be more than enough.
One thing that I've realized in my years of installing solar panels is that I never regret buying more solar panels, but I do regret not buying enough. Even on like a cloudy day like this, we're still generating like almost 2000 watts, which is more than enough for the house.
Absolutely, and I believe a lot of users would have similar experience. You start building something, it's never enough. That's what Delta Pro Ultra is built for. You have enough space in your solar input capacity to expand for more solar, and you have enough space, let's say your consumption in the house increases, you have new appliances, or you have more people living, you can always expand that capacity on the battery side, and that's effortless. No installation, stack it up.
It's like, that just mind-blowing to me that within seconds you can expand your battery capacity. Like, I've never even heard of anyone doing that before, so it's super impressive EcoFlow did.
And that is even considering that what Zack has here is a very starter and beginner setup, but you can actually build it all the way up to 90 kilowatt hours for a month-long blackout protection.
Yeah, and that's actually the easy part, since the hard part has already been done. I can insert batteries into the stack within like 60 seconds. So 90 kilowatt hours is what it maxes out at. Something else that has 90 kilowatt hours is the electric Humvee that I built.
Oh yeah.
You want to see it?
Take a look.
This took me about 2 years to build. Well, I guess electrify is the right word.
Rebuild.
Yeah, so we have 90 kilowatt hours worth of Tesla battery packs stuck right down here in the second row. The battery modules are stuck on their sides. Battery packs are here, and I want to show you the motor underneath the hood.
Oh, let's take a look. It's latched there? No? Oh, wow.
So we have the electric motor, and then we have the inverter, very similar to what's on the EcoFlow DELTA Pro Ultra. Yeah, stole your line there. So this takes the DC power from the battery pack, very similar to your system, and then converts it to AC power for the motor, just like your system converts AC power for the house.
And I see you have a liquid cooling system going on here, and that's what our X cooling system is all about. So surprisingly, there are quite a bit of similarities between those two. So you spend so much time in here in your garage working on this stuff. And meanwhile, how do you actually know or track what's going on at home with everything?
Yeah, so one thing I wish my system had was that it was more intelligent and I could monitor it from a distance. But if I were to check on the power consumption of my house, I can do everything from my phone. Yeah, I'll show you. Come around here to the front. So my favorite thing to look at is if we jump in here to the Delta Pro Ultra battery, we can see how much solar input I'm getting. Even on a snowy day like this, we're still pulling in about, what, 700 watts?
Oh, yeah.
Slowly recharging my battery. We can also see the output that's going to my house. So right now my parents are using about 120 watts, give or take.
So you generate more energy than you use.
Exactly. So it's going to recharge, and then usually about nighttime the battery's full, even on a cloudy day, and then they can use the battery throughout the night. And if we jump over here to the smart home panel, we can get a historical graph and see how much money I saved with the time of use. Because like there's certain periods during the day where energy costs more than other periods. Right. And so I can charge up the battery from the grid at a cheaper price and then use the battery when the price is more expensive from the grid. I'm mostly getting my energy from the sun, so I don't have to worry about the time of use stuff, which I feel like is better. But for someone who doesn't have solar panels, it's still a pretty nifty feature.
Fair enough.
My next favorite feature is over here with Storm Guard, because here in Utah we have some pretty crazy storms. Luckily, none of which, impact the grid too much. It's more likely that someone's gonna slide off the road and hit a power pole with their car.
That's possible.
So with Storm Guard, it will actively charge up the battery and make sure I'm full before a storm arrives, just so I can have enough energy when it's finally here. It's something like, peace of mind. You can't put a price on peace of mind.
It does it automatically. Maybe you didn't know there is some extreme weather event coming up, but then the app knows and it helps you to charge your batteries to 100%. So you don't end up in this awkward situation where grid goes down, but oops, you only got 20% on of the juice in your batteries.
Yeah, and if the grid does go down, unexpectedly, I have the ability to turn on and off the individual breakers that we saw earlier.
Right.
So I could turn off the air conditioning because that's not important, in an emergency. Or I could turn on the fridge, or I could put the fridge onto the generator and then use the battery for other stuff. And also, I meant to talk about this earlier, but when in an off-grid scenario or an emergency situation, it's better in my mind to have a battery backup system than a super loud generator. In my mind, I'm imagining, zombies out, running around. And if you have a generator on, the zombies are gonna know exactly where you're at. But batteries, silent. So.
Oh yeah, that's more of a stealth mode. Nobody can hear you, but you still get tons of energy.
Yeah.
Our system is not necessarily a replacement for that generator, but more of a addition or ecosystem for that generator. Because your initial generator, whatever brand it is, can still be a part of your home backup system, just adding you more longevity and more resilience to the system.
It's a backup for the backup.
Exactly. And then speaking of the zombie apocalypses, where would you go in that case?
So in that specific scenario, I happen to be building a bunker in my backyard.
Oh yeah.
And that as well is being powered by the EcoFlow DELTA Pros, the older system that you guys have. You want to see that?
Oh yeah, let's go.
Okay. Welcome to the bunker.
Man, that's deep. Oh yeah.
You are now 18 feet down underground. In place, these are the Delta Pros that we've been using to do all the welding and stuff underground.
I can see they doing some hard work right here. You see, they quite beat up, but still working fine, right?
Yeah, I suppose. Some of these are, so I think one of them is a year old and the other one's 2 years old, but they still couple together in pair with the expansion batteries.
Yeah.
And we are able to get a full day's worth of welding from the 240 out.
So I see what you've done here for welding purposes is you hooked up two main units of the Delta Pro to the double voltage hub, and you're feeding the welder off that, so you get 240 volts. And that's not the case for new Delta Pro, because one unit of Delta Pro Ultra outputs 240 straight away. For Delta Pro, you would need 2 units to do the same job. So that's one of the improvements we've done this year.
Yeah, so it makes it less complicated, but at the same time, one thing that I really appreciate is that when you guys release a new product, the Ultra, you don't, expire the other product line. I can still take these 2 batteries and plug it into your smart home panel too that you have, and so I can still use all the batteries that I currently still own, which is not every company appreciates that as much as you guys
And
do.
that's part of the reason why we call it Delta Pro Ultra. It's a continuous story of Delta Pro that you can build on instead of replace.
Want to tour the bunker?
Oh yeah.
Come on in.
Oh wow.
Right?
That's massive.
I've been working on this for the last year or so. Yeah, so we're 12-foot diameter, 40-foot long, and from the floor to ceiling, it's about 9 feet. If you want to come back here into the shadows, we have the master bedroom here. Then we're going to have a bunk bedroom here. We're going to be able to sleep 6 people.
Perfect.
And then right about here, we have the biggest TV you've ever seen in your whole life.
Fantastic.
Working our way over here, we have like the kitchen area, we have the couches, and then here in this corner, we're gonna have a combustible toilet where it, you know, takes care of your stuff combustibly. And to power the whole thing, it's called like a power kit or something,
Power
right?
kit, EcoFlow power kit.
All right, so 10 kilowatt hours of juice, and what I like about this is that it's built for an RV, which basically is what the bunker is, just an underground RV. And I can run regular wires, regular outlets, regular light fixtures, furnish it exactly like a mobile home underground using the power kit.
Because it has that distribution panel.
Yeah,
Perfect.
little breaker panel
Perfect.
built
I think
for
that's
RVs.
smart and effective way of doing this. And as I understand, your solar panels are gonna be on the ground level up there.
Yep, so we're gonna have an elevator in the elevator shaft that can like raise up, and the solar panels are gonna be like a cap on top of that.
Sick.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
So this is your project of today. And of course, to come to such a massive project and such big dedication, you've probably done some things that are on a smaller scale before.
Yeah, so the very first EcoFlow battery that I ever purchased was 1 EcoFlow and then 2 expansion batteries, so 3 total. And that's been running my barn nonstop for 3 years now.
Right.
And it's still functioning, still working perfectly, keeping my chickens and horses alive. Let me show you that setup.
I'm pretty sure chickens and horses love EcoFlow. That's a nice barn, man.
Yeah, thanks. This is where my wife keeps her miniature horses, kind of fun. Show you those in a minute, but this is where we've been keeping the EcoFlow Delta Pros. Normally I have 2 more expansion batteries in here, but they're down in the bunker. And this is what's been keeping the lights on, the horses' water from freezing, as well as the chickens' water from freezing. And over here, it charges up our electric lawnmower during the summer. So the whole barn has been completely run off of those and 2 solar panels that are on the roof.
Fantastic. And you, as I understand, you're running it non-stop for last how long?
3 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. That's the reliability
It's
right
intense.
there. And it probably will run another 30 years or so. I mean, it
that's-
just sits there and provides power being charged by the solar panels on the top, right?
30 years is ambitious, but if they hit that subscribe button, we'll come back in 30 years and do a review. We'll both have white beards and no hair.
Yeah.
There we go.
Deal. Oh, actually, can we take a look at the horses?
Yeah, come on over. Hey.
Oh, you're so cute.
They're kind of scared.
Fantastic. What kind of horse is that?
Small ones. I don't know what their names are.
They're like the size of a big dog.
I don't
Right?
think they're like Shetland. They're like some kind of other weird brand of horses. My wife would know. I just feed them and
Beautiful.
make sure their water doesn't freeze. And it's gone.
So they kind of beneficiaries of EcoFlow power as well.
Yeah. They're the ones who appreciate it the most. So Tim, one more question I have for you is everything I've done so far, for the last 3 years has all been off-grid. Why is it all off-grid?
Well, there are multiple reasons why. First, we started really small, right, with portable power stations. So of course that's off-grid. But once you start looking at the home energy, in America, a lot of places they go in grid tied. So you have your solar panels placed on top of your house. But sometimes when the power goes out, you're not necessarily able to use the power energy from the solar panels because it goes to grid and then you get credits for this. That would be one reason. Another reason is just the whole complexity of the grid-tied system. In fact, to obtain the permit and install a grid-tied system, you probably will spend more money than the whole cost of Delta Pro Ultra with inverter, with battery, and with smart home panel. And our mission here in EcoFlow is to power a new world. So we're trying to make this energy accessible to more people and trying to lower the entry point for the backup systems and make sure that more families can get through the blackouts in a more safe and comfortable way. And therefore, we haven't done anything grid tied just yet. Not saying that we're never gonna do it, but so far we've chose off-grid, but with Delta Pro Ultra or essentially any EcoFlow product you can.
That's cool. Well, thanks for coming out. Thanks for supporting all of my projects.
Absolutely.
It's been really fun.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us. It's been a blast. You have a wonderful house, wonderful garage. I would say not just garage, it's like a proper man cave studio, beautiful barn and horses. Thank you so much, Zach. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, when the zombies come join me in the bunker.
Let's do it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're interested in Delta Pro Ultra, don't hesitate to ask any questions in the comment section. And don't forget to join our EcoFlow Delta groups on Facebook, where we have almost 70,000 users talking and discussing how they are using their Delta units.